image BPNI.
This
Okay, I'll
meeting is
start
being
again.
recorded.
Welcome you all to the ninth session of IOICF clinics at MH BPNI. Few years back, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Bhai Modi said that it is not important whether you are sleeping or awake. What is important is whether you are offline or online. Our group was raised as an offline mother support group, and we still have many dark areas as far as online mother support group activities are concerned. I'm not talking about video calls, but in general, how online mother support group is developed. And as Upanishads say, yeah, as Upanishads say, Tamso ma Jyotirgamaya. So today, to enlighten us, we have one Prakash Dhara, which is not just Prakash Dhara, but she's modern also. So very happy to present Aadhunika Prakash, who will throw some light on online mother support group, where I can say we have done a great work. And now I transfer the mic to Dr. Sushma Malik to introduce her.
Well, thank you, Prashant. First of all, a warm welcome to everyone who's joined on behalf of Maharashtra BPNI, UNICEF Maharashtra, and the Bureau of Nutrition Maharashtra to invite Adhunika Prakash. It's a great pleasure to have you here today, Adhunika. Adhunika
Thank you
Prakash
so
is
much. Thank you so much.
our
I think it's a
pleasure.
great privilege
Pleasure
to
is
be able to
entirely
speak with you
ours.
here. Thank you so much.
Adhunika Prakash is the founder and CEO of Breastfeeding Support for Indian Mothers and is the author of an Indian context best-selling book on breastfeeding called as Breast Portion. She is, of course, internationally acclaimed social entrepreneur who was selected as one of the top 5 residents from 6,000 applicants, over 6,000 from all over the world for the Facebook Community Leadership Program. She's also received the Web Wonder Women Award from the Ministry of Women and Child Development from the hands of Srimati Menaka Gandhi and the Outlook Portion Award from the hands of the Honorary Vice President of India. She's has, of course, many awards, but just to name another few, she received the Shakti Rupa Samman from the hands of Honorary Minister of Women and Child Development of India, that is Srimati Annapurna Devi, and Honorary Minister of Women and Child Development of Maharashtra, Srimati Aditi Tatkare. And what wonderful work she is doing. She's managing a community close to 1.5 lakh breastfeeding women, and her impact has spread over 3.5 lakh lives. She has spoken at various national and international events, and she leads a team of volunteers who share a common purpose by providing them support and information during their breastfeeding journey. She has, to her credit, she has also curated the first of its kind Indian lactation education program to create more lactation enablers to support more women on their breastfeeding journey. Without much ado, I will pass back to the platform to Prashant to have a little session first with her. Yes, Prashant.
Yes. Hello, Adhunika madam. Nice to get you over here, and thanks for coming over here. That is what I would say. I didn't knew about this name of till few years back, and maybe once she had called me up, and that her phone number had stayed in my salesman instrument. But then somebody told me, "Arey, she's has 1.5 lakh followers in the Facebook on the Facebook, and she's doing a great job." So I remembered the name. So next time she called me for some other purpose, oh, I said, "Good, you called me because I was last time I didn't realize that you had called up." And then we had some telephonic exchange. But this is the first time that I'm seeing her face to face, and she had sent a photograph for the flyer. And the first, एक minute, I'll mute Pratibha. And the first impression when I saw her was that I remembered a character from film Bahubali one, Shivgami Devi, where with the twins, she's feeding and she has a great supporting act for breastfeeding. And really in her life also, she's actually doing that. So what we decided was, so it's very nice to have you over here. So what we decided was we'll conduct it more like an interview rather than like a didactic lecture from her. So my first question to you, Adhunika madam, is that obviously you are not a medical person to start with, probably, right? And then you have taken a complete different path of doing a mother support activity online. So what was that change in trajectory that made you do that, and who were the people who were responsible? Why did you start with all that?
First of all, so please call me Adhunika. I'm like a little, as compared to you, I'm very, very junior. So please call me Adhunika. Please don't call me ma'am. Thank you so much, everyone, for the beautiful introduction. And I, as someone who's easily overwhelmed with also happiness, I am really overwhelmed for, being able to conduct this session. And also the introduction that you're given, but someone reading it out about me makes me even more overwhelmed. So thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you for this opportunity. So coming back to the question, actually, when I was growing up, my father was diagnosed with cancer. And it's only now that I've started talking about it, because I was not able to bring myself to talk about these things till very recently. And at that point, I distinctly remember that there was one organization that had come home, and they were just supporting people who had cancer. And I think I was 13 years of age or 12 at that point of time, and I felt that I want to do something, when I'm older, where I can help people, make their lives better. And it really doesn't matter whether it is small or big, but I do want to help people. But then again, my father passed away soon after, and my mother was a single parent. So there was this drive ki, kuch banna hai, kuch kar dikhana hai. So, the stereotypical route of education and MBA. I actually went abroad. I was working abroad for a year. I came back, got married. And it was when I was pregnant with my first child, I started thinking about allergies and asthma specifically, because I still suffer with asthma actually. So I wanted to do everything that I could to make sure that my child doesn't deal with allergies and asthma, and what are the different things that I can do. That's when I came to breastfeeding. And when I started reading up about breastfeeding, my mind was completely blown, because I was like, how is it that something that is so important is not so widely spoken about? And I mean, why is it that there's not enough information about this? And soon enough, I started talking to a lot of my friends, and I started educating them on international calls, that this is how you breastfeed, and if you introduce formula, how do you wean off? And from there, I was a part of an Irish group, because we were in Ireland at that time. And I remember close to 7 months of age is when my child would not sleep at night, and I was a complete zombie. And my husband, who's also who is a doctor, he was working 3-day shifts continuously in the university hospital, and I was exhausted. So when I joined this breastfeeding group, which was an Irish support group, I felt like I wasn't doing something, like I felt that I was completely crazy. Why was I doing something that was so hard? Why is nobody else talking about this? But when I joined this Irish support group, I realized that I was not alone. And that feeling of community, that yes, this is difficult, yes, it is hard, but we are doing it for a specific reason. Just that feeling of not feeling alone really changed a lot of things for me. And soon after, I thought that this would be a great opportunity to start something like this for Indian mothers. So it started off with breastfeeding support for Pune moms, actually, because I'm from Pune. I did my schooling, college, and my job, everything from Pune. So then I started adding my schoolmates, my college mates, and my colleagues. And thereafter, there was a lot of women who joined. I started posting information about why breastfeeding is important for the mother. Why is it important for the baby? Fascinating facts that are not popularly spoken about. I started sharing that information, and very slowly, and very, very slowly, actually, initially in the beginning, a lot of mothers then started adding their friends and relatives. And that's how the transition took place. And to be honest, for the longest time, I was still hoping I'll go back to a typical IT job. But then I realized that no, I think in this, for those of you who really believe in karmic debt and rebirth and all of that, and I feel like deeply that the purpose for this birth of mine is really to help as many people as possible. One aspect, of course, is breastfeeding, and I'm greatly privileged that God has given me this opportunity and I have the gifts to help as many mothers as possible. So now I find it as a calling that okay, you have this power, you have this privilege, you have the gifts, and now you have to use it to help as many mothers as possible. So that's how the story has been.
I'm not still very clear about your original accreditations or what field you came from. You said IT, but what exactly were
Yeah.
your basic qualifications?
So basic qualifications were bachelor's in computer science and an MBA in information technology.
Okay, so not related to science at all. Like many people
Absolutely.
come here as dentists, nutritionists,
Yeah,
audiologists, and
absolutely.
everything. So you
Absolutely
too.
not.
So you took almost U-turn. Okay,
Yeah.
but when you started off, maybe about 20 years back, you started off.
It's been 11 years now.
11 years now. So it's almost say up to 2013-14, just before pre-corona period. So at that point when it started, did you imagine the end point at what came out in your introduction? That was it the end point you had imagined, or was it something of into oblivion?
Absolutely could not have imagined that it would ever reach here because I distinctly remember that there was one first article that had come about BSIM and I shared it with everyone. See, BSIM has come in the paper and they were like, but तू यहाँ पे तो तुम्हारा नाम ही नहीं है. So I said, तो क्या हुआ? मेरा नाम नहीं है. मैं ये नाम के लिए नहीं कर रही हूँ. My purpose of helping mothers is not so that my name comes in the paper. It's immaterial to me. Of course, later on there were many articles, but the intention was really pure, only to help mothers. And I never really imagined that we would be here today, or there would be so much accreditation. And in fact, when I was helping mothers on Facebook, and someone would ask me, what do you do, I didn't even know that I how do you tell someone you help someone on Facebook, because they'll laugh at you and then they'll say that acha pata nahi kaun si kahani bana rahi hai ye, just to sound important. And then when the Facebook recognition came in is when the work actually got recognized, because until then it was just okay, you're helping someone and you're just a very oblivious person to reality, kind of, because who helps people online? That doesn't even sound like something that happens. So it was only when the recognition from Facebook came in that there was a lot of acknowledgement, because online work, those of you who are aware of how it works, it seems very simple right on the surface, but it's extremely exhausting. It's very mentally and physically draining. And I think even with BSIM, there's been a lot of personal growth that has taken place because of my professional learnings. Because online world is harsh, it's mean, and to survive that and to keep going, you really need a deeper purpose. Because at every opportunity, when there was a difficult time, I felt like, "Kyun kar rahi hu main? Why am I here? There's no reason for me to do this. I don't get any money from this. So why should I even do this?" But the greater calling really has been to help as many mothers as possible. And it's okay if there are some people who don't approve of a specific way of functioning, whatever that is, but to keep going on that path to help mothers. So yeah, so that is what.
Having a good intention is one thing, but another thing is how did you qualify yourself in skills and knowledge related to breastfeeding? Knowledge is one part which can be gained on internet, but as far as skills are concerned, especially when you started as online first and not as offline, even for people who have done excellent on offline, they find it quite difficult beyond a particular extent to help the mothers online. So how did you achieve these two ends? And what if you got stuck up on online discussions or online support?
So, like I said, the online world is very ruthless sometimes. So, one always has to tread with extra caution when working online. And my husband is actually a super specialist doctor. He's a cosmetic and reconstructive surgeon. And whenever there were very technical queries, I would take his help and take his support. Because now there's AI, so all the data that is online has somehow come together to provide more technical answers. But like 12 years ago, that really was not the case. So there was a lot of time where I took help from him. And then I also did an online program which was from the US, which was then I became a certified lactation counselor, but that was from an American university. But when I did that course, I realized that just by helping mothers and just by researching as I helped them, I already knew almost all of the information that was there in the course. So that was just, I think sometimes we are filled with self doubt where we ourselves don't validate our own selves. We feel that we are inadequate somehow. So then that self doubt plays with you, and you keep telling yourself that, but who are you? What have you done? Where did you come from? So that helped from the technical, just from the certification point of view. But the real learning actually just happened on its own. And I think sometimes being deeply empathetic, because there are times when I've read a post of a mother and I have cried, because it's not someone in front of me, it is still someone on a group. But for example, a mother saying that her child is in the NICU and, please help me. And, and everyone has really put their heart into that post. Or sometimes there's a story of a mother whose baby is being snatched from her and being kept with a mother-in-law. Mother-in-law is not giving the baby to the mother. There are like so many things. So that, I think, like, deep empathy is also a gift, and it has to be really monitored very cautiously, because sometimes it can also become like a curse, because you're feeling everyone's emotion and you don't want to all the time. So really trying to go out there and seeing what can be done, how can we support you, even though it's online. We so a lot of research into doing all possible ways to reach out to that mother and help her out, and those were the things that we've done. And I think while doing this, there were a lot of other mothers who realized the value that of the work that we were doing. And I think that's where the beauty comes in. When people see you doing something, then they also feel like joining it. And none of this would have been possible without other mothers joining into our cause. So there are now other mothers who are breastfeeding who feel the same way about helping other breastfeeding mothers. Otherwise, this is not something that can be done single-handedly. So there is a proper team who are all passionate about helping other mothers with breastfeeding, doing different parts of organizing that Facebook group. And that's how we've really gotten here, overcome our own self-doubt. And I also overcame my own self-doubt with my education. And for me, it's actually been, I think when people started attacking me online, I think it was constantly a struggle for me to be kind. And I think kindness is hard, and not everyone can exhibit kindness, and that's why it's harder. And over time, I also had some personal learnings across when BSIM was growing. And yeah, so it's just been learnings. I'm not perfect now. I wasn't perfect then. So I made a mistake, and we figured out, okay, this is going wrong, so how do we fix this? So we fixed it, and then again we changed how we spoke. Like when we started off, we were a general parenting group. We had everything from cloth diapering to menstrual pads to gentle parenting and introducing solids. Everything was on that group actually when we started off. But then over time, we realized that we need to segregate this into separate groups, and this has to remain focused on breastfeeding. So I actually created the gentle parenting groups, the cloth diapering groups, the solid introduction groups, an off topic group for other discussions. But then I kept coming back to breastfeeding. I kept on saying that, no, this is what is most important to me. So that's how we actually have evolved over time.
No, my answer is question still partly remains unanswered. Like, the two most difficult online on general problems is when a non-latching baby and when severe engorgement. Now you have people who can perhaps help online. But in those early days, let's say first 5 years, when I'm sure you must have been faced with some problems, and many mothers can I come and see you so that you can help me better? So, how do you achieve skills in handling those problems online also and then getting it to offline stage? I don't know how could you manage it, because we find it very difficult. Our girls find it very difficult to address these two. I'm just giving an example, these two problems.
So I think how we help mothers was at that point of time is how I learned was I went to a website called Kelly Mom, for example, and YouTube. So for women who were comfortable with reading content, we would share like a Kelly Mom link. This was before we got funded by Facebook, and we created our own content and we have our own website. So we would redirect them to these more reliable websites of Kelly Mom and La Leche League, where there were because we did not have the money to have all of that on our website. So on those websites, there were proper latching and positioning information. But apart from that, if we felt, for example, that the baby was losing too much weight, or we felt that even after attempting a deep latch, uh, the mother still
Just
has.
a minute, Adhunika, just a minute. Somebody is, please mute your mics because we can't identify everyone who is, continue.
Yeah. So then what we would do is we would share links to those websites like La Leche League or Kelly Mom and things like that, so that then those mothers would help. But there were two things that we were always mindful of, or we tried to be mindful of, is that the baby should not be gaining less than adequate amount of weight. So if there was a baby that was gaining less than the adequate amount of weight, or even after attempting a deep latch, the mother still had sore and cracked nipples, we would ask her to meet someone in her own city. Like we would say, this is out of the scope of our online support. So it would be better if you can meet someone in your own city, look it up, find someone. And we also at that point had a list of LCs also that you could go and meet in each city. So some things were totally out of scope. Like for the if a baby is not thriving, we did not continue with that discussion. We would say, please go and speak to a person. You need to evaluate the latch. You need to figure out latching, and you need to meet someone in person to do it. So that we later decided that has to be out of scope of the group, because we can help with, I would say, about 85 to 90% of the times. Because I think genuinely I feel that most issues can be resolved with a deep latch and good positioning. But even after attempting a deep latch and good positioning, if there are still issues that you're dealing with, that may not be possible for us to resolve on an online forum. So then we would redirect those mothers to meet
Okay.
someone in person.
Okay. अभी तो शुरुआत तो आपने की कि मदर सपोर्ट रूप से मदर को मदद करने से, पर आई एम श्योर कि उसके बाद आपने काफी डाइवर्सिफाई किया रहेगा, जैसे ट्रेनिंग्स है, जैसे आपके बात में आ गई, तो कौन से एरियाज में आपने डाइवर्सिफाई किया उसके बाद?
So the diversification was not actually planned. We got funded by Facebook, and Facebook, the program that was the first of its kind program, because I heard all sorts of mean things about me after the selection in the program, and I was like, this program didn't even exist. It was not an aspiration when I started the Facebook group that I will apply for this program. It's like how people say, "मैं IIM जाऊंगी." So this program didn't even exist. So when the first of its kind program came up, and amongst these 6,000 plus, we were literally the top five in the whole world. So we was one of the top five Facebook groups in the entire world. And that's how we got the funding. And within that funding, then, until then I was not getting paid. No one was getting paid. And we were not even generating revenue. And the goal was also, I think this is also where one of our identities lie, that our goal was never to make money. I think it varies when you start something with the intention of making money versus you start something with the intention of helping people. So we started this that we're not doing this to make money, but we are doing this to help people. So when this funding came through, we tried diverse ways to help mothers. We started some online programs. We started this course also. That took a really really long time, but now we have this course where we have three levels. There was a slide on that, but I think I'll just explain it. So we designed this course with that Facebook funding, and in that funding we came up with three levels, which was first was just the mother support. You can, because I remember that when I wanted to learn about breastfeeding, and the courses were all in person in India, and my son was 2.5 and he was breastfed, there was no way I could go for 10 days to attend an offline program while risking my breastfeeding journey with my 2.5-year-old. So then we decided that there should be a course that is primarily from the Indian context. And because we have been working with close to 1.5 lakh women, we really know what the primary pain points are. And most of them could be fixed by breastfeeding and latch. So I thought that there should be levels where a mother just feels, I want to support my neighbor. I'm very passionate about this. My relatives and friends, I want to help. So that was the first level. So how do you talk to your neighbors and friends? Being respectful towards them, and basics of latch and positioning, and a little bit more information. And the second was if you want to take it up a little bit more professionally. And the third one level is where you can work at a hospital. So that's how the course has been designed, and we got international faculty, and we also got some fantastic faculty, and Dr. Priya is also actually one of the speakers in our course. I believe she's here in this. So we really handpicked people who could speak about specific topics, which we did not know too much about because we were just focusing on latch and positioning and getting enough. Was the baby getting enough? So then we curated that and we got speakers from across the world and some speakers from India, and it's a beautiful course, if I may say so myself. So it was an immense learning opportunity
So how
to.
many trained people you have under you right now?
So I think we've come close to 125 people, and I think I sometimes just today morning I was telling a team member that I feel I don't do enough to sell this course. So the course is ready, all the hard work's gone in, and we all slogged it out to put it there. But I find it hard to sell the course. So that's one of my challenges. Like I need to put myself out there and tell people, do this course, it's really good. But my all my focus goes on helping mothers. And that seems to be my primary focus. And but yes, I hope to make that shift in maybe a few months. Keeping my fingers crossed.
There are two Priyas over here, one Priya Asturkar and one Priya Prabhu. So which Priya you are talking about?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Priya Prabhu from Miraj Medical College, Miraj Medical.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. When you started this group, I was wondering, you have 1.5 lakh followers, right? But when you started off this course and neighbors, relatives, and friends, but I'm sure there was many people or many ladies who wanted to join in. Were there gentlemen in your group, or it was just only mothers?
No, no, there are gentlemen in our group.
Okay, so fathers and my
So,
grandfathers are there.
yeah. So
So
our criteria, we have two, I mean, for male members to join, they either have to be a father and they have to be added by the mother only. So
okay,
if a random male sends a request to join the group, we do not add the person. The person has to be the husband of a member already, or second, the person has to be a doctor. So only two types of males are allowed into the group.
okay. And I'm sure that even the ladies who would be joining, some of them was, चलो फ्री में मिल रहा है ना, बात हो रही है, तो फ्री में ज्वाइन हो जाओ, ऐसे लोग आपको मिले कि कैसे आपने डील किया उनके साथ?
हाँ, तो एक्चुअली जब ये हमने शुरू किया था ये फेसबुक ग्रुप, तभी आई मीन वी रियली सीन द प्रोग्रेस इन द लास्ट 12 to 13 years हाउ एवरीथिंग हैज चेंज्ड इवन इन इंडिया. Earlier we had to convince people कि there is someone called a lactation counselor, प्लीज उनके पास जाइए और उनका हेल्प लीजिए, इट्स ओके टू टेक सपोर्ट. बट नाउ people know that there are lactation counselors. In most good hospitals, there are lactation counselors who are there. So, so now we tell them, okay, this much you try and do yourself. But if you're not, it's okay to take help because it really doesn't make you less of a mother if you take help. Because what happens nowadays is a lot of women, they give birth through a cesarean. So, for like, they say that Mardangi was like threatened by some actions like that. I think femininity and the ability to give birth makes women feel inadequate कि मैं तो बच्चे को पैदा भी नहीं कर सकी. And there are some unfortunate elements who are there around them and they say आपका तो normal birth नहीं हुआ, आपका तो cesarean हुआ है. So then added that to when they're not able to breastfeed. So then it goes into this very downward spiral that I am not a good mother. And that's what we keep coming back to. See, in the olden days, we were living in villages and tribes. There was no book on lactation that any mother would read. Your grandmothers, your dadi, nani, chachi, kaka, kaki, or your older sister, or even your mother in some cases, was giving birth along with you. So you learned all of that information from your peers itself and experienced mothers, and suddenly you're locked up in this nuclear setup or with one mother who most likely was introduced to formula by her doctors, when she had a child herself. That person is supporting you. So it's never the mother's fault if she is unable to breastfeed. And that's what we keep reiterating, that it's never the mother's fault. Please don't blame yourself. You're not a bad mother. It's okay for you to take help. So that's how it's come along now. Earlier, people would think, I remember distinctly, I was in Aurangabad. My husband was studying for his super specialization then. And there was one woman who was in Aurangabad and who wanted to take my help. And I said, okay, you can come over. So then she said that, no, my 40-day period is going on. So I can't come to meet a lactation counselor. So I just casually asked her, so are you going to meet your pediatrician or that also you're not going? So she said, I'm going to meet my pediatrician. So I said, okay, but then you should also try to invest in lactation because that's really good for the mother and the child's health. But that time she said, no, I can't come. So times have really changed now, I feel. And mothers actually, when they come to the Facebook group, even today, There are a lot of them. I mean, I've seen the transition. So earlier the question was, I'm not making enough milk. Now most of the questions are, which pump should I buy? So that's really how it's become. Now people think that pump खरीद लो, फिर pump करो और pump से वो, start off your breastfeeding journey. Then we have to ask them, but why are you buying a pump? Is the child born, not born? Like, are you going to be resuming employment soon? Why are you defaulting to a pump? So there are still mothers who feel that lactation counselors के पास जाना एक चीज भी है. Like, do you really need to go? So, and there, of course, there are some mothers who are just there and they want to take benefit of the free support, and we are there. But after a certain point, if we feel that this is not working, like if your baby is not getting enough weight, inadequate wet nappy count, then we really push them that please, you need to meet someone in person who is an expert.
तो मेरा मेरा क्वेश्चन अलग था। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था आपको कि सपोज टाइम पास के लिए ज्वाइन हो गए, चलो फ्री हेल्प मिल रही है, फिर बार बार क्वेश्चन पूछना, बार बार वही कंफर्म करके लेना, या they must say calling you at odd hours, like Sunday evening suddenly 6 बजे कॉल आता है, so that troubling on WhatsApp, troubling on phone, how much did it affect you at that time?
Okay. So there are these some mothers who keep on posting very same query, because on the Facebook group, if you click on that person who has posted, you can see all their previous posts. So they're asking the same repetitive question. I'm not able to make enough milk. What should I do? I am doing this. I'm not making enough milk. What should I do? So there's only so much we can help. So we tell them that you need to see someone, or this is what you need to do. But if they are not willing, or they're not able to, or they're not even mentally strong enough to take those steps, then that's really the realm of the level of what we can do. And in the middle, actually, in the initial years, we had started WhatsApp groups across cities. We had actually started doing offline meetups. And we had 12 cities in 3 countries. We had offline meetups and WhatsApp groups. And that time, there was no concept of muting WhatsApp and all of that, like 12 years ago. So there used to be mothers messaging me at 1:30 a.m. like, my child is this, that. I was like, but this is my personal phone. Why you send me a message at 2:30 a.m. or 1:30 a.m.? So over the course of time, we stopped WhatsApp completely, because I personally find WhatsApp groups very, very overwhelming, because there are so many parallel conversations going on. So if you want to help a mother, you respond to that query and then you respond, but you don't know what happened before that. So that concept of like touching base with us in the middle of the night just stopped after that, because there were no WhatsApp groups. And because primarily I did not want to be giving my number to anybody, because then they would start calling me directly, and I'm happy to help you for free, that's fine, but not at any random hours. Like, doctors have to deal with this, I know. So
So we are, after seeing that there are 1.5 lakh followers on Facebook, I'm really jealous of you. So there must have been many people who must be jealous of you, or the many people who wanted to take advantage. People throw stones only at hara bhara ped, that they won't. I'm sure that two types of companies must have. You can tell about all these also. But then there is like companies like IMS companies, or second category like pump companies and other companies, and some baby product companies like baby oil and etc. They must have seen as a very useful instrument to make changes to their marketing. So, how did you deal with these particular forces?
So pump companies and the ones that were coming very distinctly under IMS, we did not work with them at all. I mean, of course, it was very clear. And even though there were some brands that were pushing like Spectra, etc., that we really don't violate IMS and things like that, we said it's better to stay away from anything that will question our ethics, actually, because then it suddenly becomes, and जैसे आपने बताया कि people are jealous of you. And then I used to constantly think that when people were jealous of me, that do they know my real story? Do they know my real struggles? What they are seeing is just, it's actually Maya, it's just an online uh, depiction of my life. It's not my real life. You don't know what my challenges are. You don't know what my struggles are. And you are just jealous of, what persona you see of me online. And actually, a lot of this happened once I got recognition from Facebook. People started telling me that आपने तो ये, इसी के लिए किया था, and you were never had, here to help people. And then I had to reevaluate how I define myself. And that was another growth journey and pattern there. But it was very clear to stay away from the funders, or the people who wanted to promote under, who violated the IMS Act. But because the platform was free, like Facebook maintain karne ke liye, I did not have to pay any money. So because there was no cost associated with actually helping mothers, at that point of time, there was no cost for the work. So it was easy for us to say we don't need money because we were just using the platform for free. Now the times have changed because now we have a course and we have a website and now we have to pay our CA and we have to pay our company secretary. So all of those things have changed and now there are some costs that are associated to keeping the course running, keeping our website ad free. Because even today I wonder, why am I keeping the website ad free? Like, can I not generate some amount of money from that? Not saying I won't do it in the future, but I'm just saying these are questions that come up. So, like I said, that I come from uh, like difficult childhood and all that was there, but now I think that I come from a fairly privileged space, and my family's been very supportive of my work, and like I mentioned, my husband is also a super specialist doctor. So the funding aspect of the courses, I feel like a sort of a donation into supporting the social work that we do. So that's how it's been.
So mainly CSR, which is helping you out right now, right?
No, no, there's no CSR because first I mean, I come from a family background of all salaried people. There's
Okay.
no business owner
No,
who.
some other company with a corporate social
Yeah, so for
responsibility.
that, we first registered a trust, but the trust was a big disaster because I didn't know compliance. I didn't know how to make a receipt. I would call people and say, receipt kaise banate hain? So that was also very challenging for me. And then we registered again as an LLP. And the LLP then is again not liable for CSR funding. And then the trouble with CSR funding for us was one, if we
You're
start
using some short forms like BSIM, one short form, NLP you used. So can you just,
LLP, yeah, yeah, LLP is just a partnership basically. It's a
okay,
limited liability partnership.
okay.
And with CSR funding, you have to be doing, like we found out, you have to be doing social work maybe in slums. If you have to go do training in a corporate space, you can't, they won't give you money. So there were a lot of nuances into these nitty gritties that I never thought about and I did not know of. So they could not give me any CSR funding unless I was going and helping someone in the slum. And my other problem is that suppose I take funding from people and I start giving my volunteers say 5,000 rupees per month, and then that funding runs out. Then who's going to do that? Okay, आपने just now you feel that my cause is great. Okay, I'll give you 5,000 whatever X amount per month. But my whole system collapses the moment I start taking money on a monthly basis or my volunteers start taking help. Because currently we stand, and I am a volunteer first. And then my team are also volunteers. And this was a question we had when we got funding. Okay, now we have got funding. Should we start paying people? When that's what the people who are guiding us with the funding told us. Okay, if you start paying these people, how long will you be able to pay them? So then, if you start paying them and then you stop paying them, then the system would collapse. So there was, and even today, our volunteer work is fully volunteer. Nobody gets paid a dime for it. So that's how that volunteer work can continue, and that is sustainable tomorrow, even if the post doesn't work. So that part keeps working. So that is not linked with any money because of the
So
volunteer team.
suppose one of your friends comes and say, now I have become an expert on breastfeeding. I'm feeling like a lactation counselor. I can help mothers. So tomorrow, out of your job hours, in the evening, she starts her counseling OPD. So some of them may have done that. So are you
Yeah,
okay
yeah.
with
So
that?
that we have in place. We had a few actually during COVID. There was a time when we were doing like I think between 50 to 100 consults online because there was such a huge inflow of online queries. But now what has happened is since COVID is over and there are so many LCs in different cities, everyone can find one LC because that time I remember I was the only LC in Aurangabad. But now in every tiny city, and I think this is fantastic in the larger landscape of breastfeeding support that mothers should get, there is one LC in every city. And we do online consults for mothers who are not able to find someone, those rare mothers. So now we do like one consult in 2 months or one consult in 3 months. So there is not a huge volume of consults that we do online. But we have one team member who does those online consults, and she's been kept available for those mothers who want to do online consults.
My question is that since you are not able to pay honorarium to your counselors, but they have become expert in a particular field, if the evening they choose to do lactation
Correct.
counseling practice and where they can earn, so you're okay with that, right?
Absolutely, because they are
Okay.
working for me for free. So, I mean, I can't expect it's out of the goodwill of their heart, and that they are helping other mothers. What they do
Okay.
outside of that, I can't say anything, and I will
Okay.
not.
Okay. As far as you wanted to, we had discussed that there is some PowerPoint where you want to show pictures which cannot be spoken. So have you kept some online
I have, but
presentation?
I think this has been a great conversation. And I think just two stories I wanted to share is like, I think one of the questions we discussed was what keeps me going. And it is just sometimes one mother will make a post saying that, 3 साल पहले आपने मेरी मदद की थी, and then you feel, okay, this is in the larger, because in offline work, like sometimes I think that I want to partner, and since there are so many people here, I want to take this opportunity that I would like to partner with social service organizations working in lower socioeconomic areas. So we have this course which is online, and the first level is there in Hindi. So anyone can attend it, and I would really want that we start expanding to areas which are underprivileged. So in those kind of circumstances, we can collaborate, and I will provide the course for free, and just want to help those mothers who are doing it. But apart from the coming back to the question, what keeps me going is, someone makes a post. There was a child who was less than 1 kg of birth, and the mother came there and she made a post, and everyone came in together and everyone helped out. And then she made a post like, when the child was 3.5 or something. Like, see, this is where my child was, less than 1 kg of rice or sugar, so tiny. And here is the 3.5-year-old child. So those kind of, because we are just shooting arrows in the dark. When you're working in a slum, you know that this Maushi is there or this Didi is there, and you meet her and you feel like, kaise ho Didi? You have that back and forth. Here with online work, you're just shooting arrows in the dark, like, hopefully it is helping somebody somewhere. We don't know that person. We don't even know if we will ever come face to face with that person. But we are just hoping that it's all in the greater good. So that is one of the challenges of online work. And also during COVID, there was one lady there was this baby whose mother had passed away because of COVID. And then she made a post that was on the PPT, but I think the story is better. So she made that post on her Facebook group that my family member, it was her sister-in-law who had passed away, and the child was not able to digest formula. So she made that post, and so many mothers came in to help her, and everyone posted on their own social media outlets, on Instagram, idhar udhar sab jagah. And for 6 months the child received nothing but breast milk. So it was just, it was so beautiful. Like, I'm not taking credit for any of this, but it's just the beauty of humankind. I would say that everyone is a good person, everyone is looking for an opportunity to help someone. And that's the kind of work that keeps me going. And
You
honestly,
will start moving faster when one of your mothers whom you have helped, they become dadis or nanis and they will say, "अरे मेरा नहीं मैं आपके पास आई थी," and that is the time
no,
probably.
when we become grandmothers, they'll tell their children, हमारे जमाने में तो एक online group होता था. So yeah, I think, and coming back to just, I've been focusing a lot on my spiritual growth. I think the last 1 year has been a lot about focusing on my spiritual growth, and that's what keeps me going. I think the ability to help as many people, that's my karmic debt. कुछ काफी खराब किया होगा पिछले जन्म में, so compensating.
अच्छा मुझे बोलिए अपने अच्छे एक्सपीरियंसेस से बोले आपको कुछ बुरा एक्सपीरियंस भी आया रहेगा इन दिस जर्नी सो कैन यू
हाँ हाँ,
शेयर सम
बुरा
बुरा
experience
एक्सपीरियंस
जो मेरे सोशल मीडिया आउटलेट पे दिखेगा ही नहीं.
हाँ
So yeah, so when this happened, like I said, there was a lot of jealousy and there was a lot of unrest within the team as well. And I personally was a people pleaser. I wanted to make everybody happy. I did not want to tell anyone anything that will make them unhappy. And during all of this, and because I never spoke about my challenges, I was just trying to support other people. Nobody knew about my childhood, my struggles, nothing at all. So when this recognition came about, a lot of people were jealous. And I could not understand, why are people so jealous? Like, nobody has seen how many times I've cried because of this online drama, or how many times I felt like running away from it. Nobody has witnessed that. Nobody's in my house looking at me cry. And even when I was pregnant with my second child, I remember being massively upset, and I'm thinking, is this going to hurt my unborn child? Like, I'm crying because of this work that I don't get paid for, and I don't even know why I'm doing it. So nobody sees that part, those struggles, but they are all there to say कि आपको अभी पैसा मिल गया है, आपने पैसे की वजह से ही किया. So that that challenge actually also taught me how to draw boundaries in my offline life, and I think that was a beautiful struggle. That was a learning that I needed to have from that struggle. And once that I learned how to draw boundaries and I started being firm about things and not really trying to please everyone anymore, I also evolved into a better version of myself. So, like everything seems so glitzy, and when you see social media influencers who are traveling on some cruise and some fancy items they're getting, Dyson patani air wrap and all of those things that nobody wants, nobody needs but wants. You feel jealous that, oh my god, what a life they have. But there's so many struggles, and I think everyone, the day you're born is the day it's known that you're going to have struggles. And it's taken me a lot of emotional maturity to reach that stage that everyone doesn't understand that. They just see that, oh, iska, iske. Actually, one of my neighbors jokingly told me once, I was just started focusing on my health, and she said, "I don't see you down for a walk nowadays." So I said, "No, no, I'm doing it at home and I do some yoga." So she said, "I wish I also had a rich husband like yours." I was like, "What? Where did that come from?" And it shook me up for a few days, but then I realized that not everyone knows my story. They just see this exterior of what I am, and that's their fault. I've had my struggles and I'm doing what I can to help people, and that's who I am. So that journey of BSIM has also actually led to a lot of personal growth for me.
What
And
is the BSIM?
BSIM is Breastfeeding Support for Indian Mothers,
Acha, okay.
which is the name of the Facebook group.
Okay, okay.
And it, like I said, it went from breastfeeding support for Pune moms to breastfeeding support for Indian mothers. And now we have a website, which is www.bsim.org.in, where we have got, I think, 65 plus topics, frequently asked questions by mothers that are there on our website, free for everyone to access. And it can also be translated, Google translated, into about 10 regional languages of India. And we have pre-recorded courses for mothers who are expecting, mothers who want to resume employment, mothers who want to wean off formula, and mothers who also want to wean off their babies. So we have, put together all of these resources for those who feel that that's the medium that they want to choose to learn.
You are in direct contact with 25, 30 people now, 150 people who have been trained, and the 1.5 lakh moms. So managing such large ladies group, there must be some inherent problems associated with it. So how do you manage that? There is a good interrelationships maintained between these components.
So back in the day, I'm sounding like I'm 85, but about 12, 13 years ago, when there was a Facebook group, there was no choice to close comments or turn off commenting. So if there was a drama post that was going on, हम लोग एक एक दो दो घंटे में उठ के देख रहे हैं भाई क्या हो गया इस पोस्ट का. So that's how it was, because very, very heated debates, vaccines against vaccines, formula against formula, salt, no salt. It was just really overwhelming with very strong opinions. Salt dena chahiye, nahi dena chahiye, all of that. So it was pretty intense to keep getting up and seeing what's happening. But over time, we narrowed down our focus to only breastfeeding. So now we don't have any vaccine related discussions. We don't have any salt related discussions or weaning related discussions. So we've become very hyper focused. And now the platform also allows us to close comments. So if there is a discussion that is going completely out of hand, it's too much of drama, if someone is being very mean to someone else, which is the default, because in online mediums, you say things you would never tell anyone in person. You behave that, there's nothing in the middle. Just vomit out the worst thing you can say about anyone. And not realizing that the person sitting on the other side is a real human being with emotions, whom you're scarring with your really awful words where you have no filter. So now we are very focused. So we have guidelines, like we allow only breastfeeding posts. If someone is really stirring up drama, then we can remove that person from the group, or we can suspend them for 24 hours, which is now all possible in the existing features of Facebook. But earlier, this wasn't possible. So we also have a guideline in our Facebook group, which we iterated because it's an online work and like we are talking about learnings. So one thing, like we came up with something called as Ekta, which was the value system for our own group. So it stands for empathy. So whenever you're interacting with any mother, you please be empathetic towards her. You don't know what struggles she is dealing, with at all. And K was for kindness, and P was for tolerance for diverse parenting styles. And A was assuming positive intent, means always assuming that the mother who is suggesting, Vasambu or, Zaifal is actually trying the suggesting something good for the baby as much as someone who's suggesting a bottled colic aid. So all of these values really helped us come together as an organization. And I keep used to tell my team all the time, I don't know whether I want to be known as a breastfeeding group, but I want to be known as a kind group, where people are nice to each other. That was more important to me than being, a breastfeeding specific group. And I think that constant reiteration and constantly telling people be tolerant, be kind, be empathetic, assume the best, it really changed the things of how Facebook, the group worked. And most of the people would have positive things to say because we are trying to be good. I mean, we can't please everyone, but constantly reiterating that really helped us reduce the drama and bring all of that down to, look here, we are here to help you to help with breastfeeding. We are not here to for drama and just some time pass that you don't have in your offline life. So then we would just close comments if it was getting too dramatic, or if there was someone constantly poking someone, you are this, you are that, you are intolerant, and you are blah blah blah, we would just remove that person, because our core purpose is to help with breastfeeding. We are not here to waste anyone's time, and even our time, because all of the mothers who are on the group, they have little kids. Not like their kids are 18 and 25, they have gone to college, अपने आप खाना खा लेते हैं ना, all that नहा लेते हैं. All of us were with little kids whose bums had to be washed, in the middle of everything. So we had to be mindful and careful for ourselves also when we were doing this work.
Yeah. So two quick questions because we are closing in on time. So one question is about your book, Breast Potion. So would you like to say something about that? And secondly, how your family members contribute? Your husband, you said, was a cosmetic surgeon.
Yeah.
So maybe he has some moms with breast reconstruction surgery or breast augmentation or whatever. So do you have some experiences of that kind of work where the mothers come back and say that they are less milk or there are problems? And of course, how your family helped you.
um First part about the book, because I was a non medico, because now a doctor's wife is like half medico and half a joke, so a little bit more medical knowledge now. But the goal for the book was, I constantly had to remind myself that now I am educated about lactation and I should not use jargon that a new mother would not be able to follow. So through the book, I kept reminding myself, one is simple language, because I'm educated in an English school and convent school, so sometimes I can use words that may not be easily understood by everyone. So I went back to keeping it really, really simple. And even about the breastfeeding information, I kept it really, really simple. Kept on going through the books till I reached a stage where I felt, okay, now this is simple enough for absolutely any new mother to understand without feeling overwhelmed. So I think that was a big piece of, diverse ways of reaching a mother. One is the Facebook group. Then we have our webinars. Then we have our lactation counselors. So the book was also one of the ways to reach a mother. But unfortunately, in today's generation of low attention span, most people are not reading books, which is unfortunate. So the book is really not, it's not really taking off as the way it should, and that has nothing to do with me. I'm not taking it personally, but it is a medium that is not reaching many mothers anymore because of the low attention span.
But you must be having an e-book on Facebook since you have that
Yeah,
e-book.
it's the Kindle version is available, and my book is still to get restocked on Amazon. It's self-published, so everything is on me. So there was a delay. Uh, so yeah, so the book is not something people are really going by so much. And coming to the question about my husband, we moved to Pune. So we were living abroad, and then he was studying, and then again we moved abroad. So when he moved to Pune just before COVID happened, so 2019 we moved, and then 2020 COVID happened. So then, there wasn't much. But him, obviously, being my husband, he's very wary of doing breast augmentation surgery or breast surgeries on women who are yet to get married and give birth. So there were no cases as such where and I don't think culturally, I don't know about the current situation, but I don't think culturally it's like in other some developed countries, young women go for breast augmentation, which I don't think is a big trend in India. So there's no case where someone got breast augmentation done and then wanted to breastfeed. So that's something that we haven't come across. But he also is one of the speakers in the course. So he also spoke about breast augmentation and the different types of incisions and which incision is really okay if the mother wants to breastfeed in the future, if she really wants to go ahead with the procedure. But firsthand, we've had no experience. And because he's a doctor, he's always supported me with very, very hyper specific medical queries, being supportive of breastfeeding and making sure that the mother and the child is not impacted because of any medical procedures or medications and things like that.
And how about your kids? How are they taking your profession and frequently being on phone or frequently on the mobile?
Now it's much lesser because the popularity of Facebook has come down dramatically. So the number of posts we see per day also has reduced dramatically. So it's much lower. But I can say this out very clearly that my mental health was really, really, really bad at the peak of my work because I had to keep checking my phone and there was no opportunity, like I said, to turn off commenting and things like that in the past. So it was very, very heavy on mentally. It took a huge mental toll on me. And I think it's just in the last 2 years that I actually feel mentally healthy. And earlier, I used to think it was the motherhood that was making me like this, but I realized it wasn't actually motherhood. It was my work, which was online, which was constantly giving, 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 and providing, providing, providing. So it's really bad for the mental health. The online work is with mental health. It's terrible. But now, because the number of posts have reduced, now I'm finally able to focus on myself, on my mental health, and my physical health as well. And बच्चे लोगों को तो मतलब they are, I mean, they're too, I mean, they were.
Is it, do they care or do they your part as a mom? So does it suffer in giving care to them or talking to them when you're doing such online heavy work?
So both of my children were breastfed for 7 years. Like one was close to 7. My son was 6 years and 9 months when he weaned. And my daughter, who was born later, I tandem breastfed them for 3.5 years together. And the first year after my daughter was born, I don't even know, when I think about it, I shudder and I get goose pimples. The first year after they were born, they were breastfed on demand, even at night time. So it was like my younger one would wake up, she would finish her feed, and when my older one had woken up, he would be sitting there waiting. So after the younger one finished feeding, then the older one would feed. And then, it was so breastfeeding has certainly been a big part of them. And now, of course, they know that, that I've told them that there was this chapter from my son about Samaj Sudharak and all of those things. So I told him, your mother is a Samaj Sudharak.
There are
Because
many in Pune, so you can give their example, show the statues also and the installations they have built.
yeah, so they are very happy with the work that I do, and they know that I do social work, and I don't get paid, and all of those things. And I've also prioritized them a lot, I think. So they're very content. They're very happy to have me around, and because I never went outside the house to work, I was always around them. So I always made sure that they were not neglected. Maybe sometimes, but most of the times they were not.
Okay. We have finished 1 hour discussion. This can go on for one more hour, but there are people who want to ask questions. So, Dr. Satish Tiwari is they raised his hand. So, Dr. Tiwari, you would like to ask something? Dr. Tiwari, are you there? Okay. Malik, madam, since Dr. Tiwari is not around, you have raised your hand. So, what question you would like to ask?
Thank you, Adhunika, for letting us know many, many things of how it started and how well you are doing. I had a couple of questions. You said your course is, over 3 levels. So how long is each course? And I would also like to know what is the cost of doing that course.
So the cost total is like, if you do all the 3 levels, it is 15,000. But if you do one level, it is 6,000 each.
Okay.
And
And is it all only online, or do
it is
people
all
get even
on,
some?
I mean, it was actually the design of the course was primarily also for mothers and medical professionals who lead busy lives. So it is completely online. And it is a sort of course where we are teaching you how, like breastfeeding, latch, getting enough everything in a way. And in the first level, we put a lot of emphasis on counseling skills. Because I think more than anything else, I think it's important to be kind to the mother. And that is, I mean, I remember when I met an IBCLC when my son was young, I cried after one session because she was so mean to me and so dismissive of my emotions as a mother. So I think it doesn't matter, whether what your qualifications are sometimes, so long as you can be kind. So there's a lot of emphasis on being kind and how to talk to a mother, let her speak, you don't do the speaking and things like that in the first level. And I can get back to you about the exact duration of each of the courses if you allow me some time, because I don't know it offhand. Just give
No
me.
worries. You
What you
can
can do, you
always.
can just share with me. I'll share
I
on the
will,
group.
yeah, I will share it
Yes.
with you. I mean, exact duration I can tell you of each level. But
And I
I'm
heard.
just, yeah, so I can answer that question. So the first level is 18 hours. The second level is also 18 hours. And the last level is 12 hours.
And
Even
is
the cost of
there?
our courses, four courses which we have level one, two, three, four, the cost is almost the same. Almost is the same as what your cost is, 6,000 rupees per level. And we have three levels which are
No, they
two,
have.
two are.
Sorry, is it 6,000 per level?
Yeah,
Yeah.
24
Okay.
24,000. So divided by 4, so
24,000.
it's 6,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Our two courses are online, and one basic course, first course is motivational course, which is offline. And then we have one online, and then we have again one offline course for skills. That is in the wards, actually. So you give me the details, and I'll put it up. And if any one of our people want to work for you, free, of course, free of cost, then are you open to that?
Yeah, actually, our group is completely online. So whoever wants to come online and help mothers any part of the day, they are most welcome to come, because we have so many people who are seeking help. And if you find that you want to help someone for free and you're not expecting anything in return, you just need to go there and reassure the mother that this is what you need to do. So everyone is free to help, and everyone is free to join our organization and help other mothers. There's no limitation at all.
Now,
Okay.
Dr.
And what
Tiwari, what
about
would you
your
like to ask?
seminars?
Dr.
Sorry.
Prashant, I had one query.
Yeah, yeah.
Question,
Please,
not query, one question
yeah,
with
please go ahead.
you said that the last 10 years or 12 years, the things have changed. The concept from I have less milk to the that you said now the mothers they want to pump the milk. So they are coming out how to pump and how to. So after pumping, what do they do with that milk? That was my query.
Yeah, so a lot of it actually, like even in the US, we have noticed we have some mothers who are from the US where they're given a free pump at
Yeah.
birth itself. It's part of their medical insurance. So
Okay.
this has happened in my family. Like one of my far off relatives was in the US. She got this pump as part of insurance. And then she started focusing on pumping. And she
But
was,
after what I was interested after pumping, they feed with the bottle or they feed with anyway or they
they
donate it
don't
to
know
the milk bank.
anything. They don't know anything because even I bought a pump when my son was born. I said, I don't know
Yeah.
if I need a pump, but I'll buy a pump. So they
Okay.
just buy the pump. They don't know how to feed, how much to feed. Nothing they know. They just feel that breastfeeding करना है तो pump खरीद के रख लो.
No, no, no.
Dr.
That.
Tiwari, what she said was that the people
Hmm.
have asked, started asking about what pump they should use, not how the pumping is to be done or how the milk is to be expressed. So the focus is on get instrumentalization more than the
Actual
actual this thing.
resolution.
The
No,
So
no,
we
no.
have to
actual.
tell them.
Dr.
See, I
Prashant,
Yeah.
we were talking to some of the media persons in past, and they said now most of the mothers they pump the milk and then they put it in the bottle and feed the baby rather than doing the direct breastfeeding. So I was interested what is the percentage of such mothers who pump the milk, then put it in the bottle, and then they feed with the bottle.
Yeah, so what I was getting to is, which is also the story of my far off relative from the US. There was so much emphasis on how much milk you are able to pump out that the fixation becomes on how many ml the child is getting of breast milk. Instead of the focus being on fixing the latch and directly feeding the baby, they
Yeah.
are more fixated on how many ml of milk they're able to pump. So before they know it, they go on that exclusive pumping route. They start exclusively pumping for the child if they do not take the correct help and intervention.
Okay, so Adhunika, my question is that whether the pumping is decreasing the incidence of direct breastfeeding or it is improving the breastfeeding rate.
I would say that pumping in the initial few days certainly comes in the way of establishing breastfeeding.
Okay.
I would not, at any cost. In fact, I tell people that don't buy a pump, invest that money
Yes.
into a session with a lactation counselor, and that
Okay.
will be a better investment in your child's health and your health rather than fixate. Because the query that comes on after the pumping has come to the picture is, I am
Yes.
only getting 20 ml when I pump.
Yes.
So they think that when the child is directly breastfeeding, we don't know, but formula
Okay.
is also being given that we are giving 90 ml. But when I pump, I am only getting 20 ml. That means my milk supply is not enough, is not sufficient. My child should be getting 90 ml because I'm giving 90 ml formula, but I'm
Okay.
only getting 20 ml from my breast, so my milk supply is less.
The
So that,
digitalization of breastfeeding has been
yeah,
occurring,
so that
which
is
can
why
be
that is
damaging.
what my
Yeah.
query was, and thank you for that. That the breast pump is actually
Damaging
one
the,
hurdle in direct
yeah.
breastfeeding.
For sure, for sure.
So
And I
one
think
question.
if
See, because
anyone,
all of us are probably Adhunika used to getting ranks in the school. So तू 20 ml निकालती है तो मैं 30 ml निकालती हूँ कि कल 40 निकला to yesterday I was not good, today I am good. So those things have started coming into picture.
yeah, so constantly we have to tell people
Yeah.
that how much you can pump at random is never an indication of your milk supply. So this is a that we are. I've seen that pattern evolving. Please tell me which pump to buy. Then I have to ask them how old is the baby? Is the child born or not? What will be your reasons to pump? Then they say that I am yet to have a baby or my child is getting formula. So instead of investing in a counseling session, they're investing in a pump, which is going to worsen the situation.
Any more questions?
And in
Because there is-
continuation to the course, somebody has asked that is it accredited and what is the designation that you will get after doing the course? Like, are you a counselor? Are you a, or is it just a, you will
Yeah.
get a
It
certificate
is, yeah.
course or
So
what?
it is a certified course, but it is certified by us itself. But the most
Okay.
important thing, which is also written in our certificate very clearly, is that the person is not allowed to prescribe any medications. Unless the person is already a medical professional, then that is a separate thing. But otherwise, the person is not allowed to, give any sort of medications at all. So the
So is
course
it certified, say,
by
by,
us, by us, yes. There
okay.
is
Do
no
you all
any.
have any SERPs or anything that somebody can consider giving it up
So
as a
for now,
part of the
we don't have
ability?
we don't have, because when I did my course, I did it from University of San Diego, and I got a certificate which just was that you are a certified
Okay.
lactation counselor. So that is
Okay.
all that it is. You are a certified lactation. We call ourselves enablers. So you're just enabling the mother. You actually can't fix anyone's breastfeeding relationship also. You're just enabling the mother to do what she wants to do. Because if a mother
Okay.
does not want to wean off formula, it's her choice and we have to respect that. So we have to enable the mother to do what she wants to do. So the certification is from us itself.
Okay. Fine. Just one very quick question, since this is on the Facebook. You must be overwhelmed with so much information. Somebody is commenting something, another person. How do you manage all that? And is it culturally sensitive as well as gender sensitive?
Yeah, so that was the primary difference between the Irish Facebook group that I was a part of, and then I started the Indian Facebook group, because there are a lot of cultural nuances. There's a lot of quick questions about can I consume rajma and chole, for example, which is not a question that you would hear in an
Yes.
Irish support group. So it's very, very culturally relevant. There's also a lot of community living that is there in India, where the society in Ireland, for example, is more individualistic. So it's all very culturally relevant information that we give. And I personally I have two kids, and I experienced that one of my children was affected by what I ate, and the other was not. So I also share my experience that Some children are affected and some children are not affected. So do whatever works for you, understand if your child is affected or not, and then eat, those things. What was the first part of the question?
The overwhelming questions. There are
Yes,
suggestions.
overwhelming.
Somebody suggests something,
Yeah,
another one suggesting, and
yeah,
the mother's got all confused. She gets conflicting,
yeah,
answers are coming in. How do you manage all that? And how do you put a foot down? No, this is the right thing, and the other thing is wrong.
yeah.
Is there any moral policing? Yes. But what about the scientific policing that is occurring?
Yeah. So earlier, when the Facebook group started off, there were no roles that come in. So now what happens is on a Facebook group, you can see when someone is responding to a query, whether the person is a part of the team or not. So if a moderator is responding to a query, it comes over that this is the moderator. So the team members response. And the way our group is designed is that because we have people in different time zones, every 2 to 3 hours, there is someone who's going to sign in whatever part of the day and respond to those queries. So in that point of time, that moderator stamp will come or admin stamp will come. Okay, so this is what the moderator is saying, this is what the admin is saying. And if it is harmless information, that is not going to cause a big impact, then we just let it slide. But if it is grossly incorrect, then we do go there and we do correct the person and say, no, that what you're saying is incorrect, and please don't say this, or this is the accurate information.
Okay.
Adhunika, I'll give you an idea. You go to the Irish group again and you say, I'm going to ask you the most difficult question which you won't be able to answer. Tell me whether Rajma Chole can be eaten by the mothers. I'm sure they won't be able to answer it.
Yeah,
So,
that is why
does your group have only Indian mothers, or does it allow
yeah, we have
mothers from other countries?
we have people from 100 plus nationality, like people staying in 100 countries who are a part of the
Okay,
group. And I also have personally, because I have lived abroad and in different countries, so I have added my friends from different nationalities like Romanian, Irish, Ukrainian. All of them are there on the.
excellent, very good. I'm happy that you are open to others joining. And my other question was, how do you manage gender equity? And if a mother, there's a couple of the same sex, what would you do? Would you
So
allow them, since you said that you would allow only people who are either married to his wife is a member, or, it's a doctor? What if the person doesn't fit into these two categories?
yeah, so we've not had that experience so far, but I
Okay.
mean, but there is information about it, and it's
Okay,
perfectly okay
fine.
to add those people if that's what they choose. I very briefly, I think there was one person like that on the group in the last 12 or 13 years, but that person never really expressed the desire to
Okay,
add their
fine.
partner. So
I
we are.
think I need to keep quiet. Madam Vani wants to ask something.
Right. Hi, Adhunika. I think we met in one of our LACTEC
Yes, hello,
conference.
Dr.
If
Manlavani,
you
how are
remember,
you?
I mean, beautiful lecture. We used to see your only success, but now listening to your story, your challenges, it is just amazing. And it's very inspiring for all our group as well, all other lactation consultants and lactation counselors. I think initially I used to look into your group when I also came newly in Pune, and there were few times my name was somewhere mentioned, and somebody used to tell even the patient coming to clinic that somebody has suggested your name in your group. At that time I have seen some photos of the breastfeeding women putting. Is it still now women put the photos of the breastfeeding? And have you come across sometimes the censorship? No, this should not be in the group photos like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing is, when I was breastfeeding, I would keep posting photos of myself breastfeeding, and I used to say, you know what, it's normal. I'm just feeding my baby. But since I'm not doing that anymore, somehow the volume of that has come down. But there are a lot of mothers, if there is a mother who chooses to post a photo of herself breastfeeding where she's not covering her breast, then
Yeah.
there would be moral policing, and there would be other mothers who would come in and they would say, what is this? How can you post this? And don't you have any shame? And why is your breast exposed? And things like that. So at that point of time, we would reiterate that it is really her choice, how she wants to share her breastfeeding photo, and nobody should be able to judge what kind of parenting choices a parent takes. Like, why did you post this photo? And I think everyone is very well aware of the dangers of the internet. So to assume that a person doesn't know the dangers of the internet, like how can you post it on the internet? It's, we would just bring that down and say that, it's, and this happens very popularly with older kids also. So there is this mother of twins who was breastfeeding her child for like 5 years, and she had one boy and one girl who was breastfeeding, and she would be attacked and said that, how can you post these photos of your children breastfeeding, and one boy, one girl, your breast is seen, and things like that. And of course, she's very well aware that this is going to happen because she's a seasoned member of our group. But still, we would go there and we would support her and say, you know what, this is just a woman breastfeeding. There's no need to sexualize it. And, the sexualization of breasts have really happened after breasts were used to sell cars and cigarettes and perfumes. But the primary purpose of breasts is basically the mammalian glands, which is breastfeeding. So why are you sexualizing it as a woman? Please be aware of the fact that you're harming other women by sexualizing breastfeeding. So we do that bit, but yeah, there is always someone with a louder opinion.
Great.
One
Great
last
work.
question we'll take one last question because the time is running out.
Yeah, there is a question, Prashant, in the one or two questions. Do you want to, can I put it up?
Anybody
Somebody is
wants
asked.
to ask a verbal question? I think I asked that last question from the chat.
Okay. Adhunika, you have worked with so many celebrity moms. Nowadays, there is a notion amongst moms who are on Instagram as mom influencers who are instrumentalizing breastfeeding. Recently, there was a fashion show with pumping moms. Can you think of some way we can mitigate this? One of it was by a brand which has launched wearable pumps,
Yeah, Philips.
heavily promoted by celebs and mom influencers. So you must be having a lot of mom influencers.
Yeah. So,
This question's been asked by Mehak
okay.
and also by Mahima Pandit.
Okay. So, when I was relatively young in the social sector, I used to feel I can change the entire world, and all the problems need to be solved, and I need to solve all the problems. But over the course of time, I've realized that I can only focus on the realm of my circle of influence. So this also works with my kids because I realize that as they get older, they're not listening to me at all, so I can only do a little bit, and I will do what I can do. But what is outside the realm of my scope of work, I don't want to fixate on it and bring my mental health down. Because, like I mentioned previously, I was dealing with severe mental health issues while doing BSIM work. I used to, I mean, my mind was in a terrible state because I used to think, baby food companies don't think about babies. Pharma companies are not thinking about humans. The world is not thinking about the waste plastic that it is generating. And I was in this negative loop because I only surrounded myself with negative thoughts. And then I had to seek help from a counselor, like a professional. And she told me, with every positive thought, you have to think of, with every negative thought, you have to think of a positive thought. And with a lot of self healing, I've reached a stage where I say that I will do the positive impact that I can. What is outside the realm of my, scope of work, I'm not going to fixate on that. If I can do something, I will. And if I cannot, I will also let it go. That is the focus that I have, because if I start fixating on the negativity, then I can't continue in the scope of work. Because being a counselor is like you're actually giving a part of yourself. Every single time you see something sad, a part of you is lost to that person. So really building yourself up so that you can have a positive impact to those around you, I think that would be a better focus than focusing on things that are outside. And also we have organizations in India who are already have that as their focus. So, like, I know BPNI Maharashtra is also working in this realm, and so is BPNI India. So that is within their scope of work. So I'm happy to say that there are these beautiful organizations who will, do what is within, again, their power. Everything is not within everyone's control and power. So that makes me feel more safe, and I can sleep better at night now. than a few years ago where I was thinking हर एक problem solve करना है, हर एक breastfeeding issue को solve करना है. It's not realistic anymore. And also in the Gita, because I've been reading a lot about spiritual growth, you can only control yourself. You can't really control others. And people are going to have their own spiritual learnings, and you are not responsible for anyone else's spiritual learnings. So focus on yourself, improve yourself. एंड बाकी लोग की जिंदगी उनकी जिंदगी है, उनका कर्म का फल अलग है, हमारे कर्म का फल अलग है. सो बी विथ योर सेल्फ, मेक पीस विथ योर सेल्फ, एंड दैट्स अबाउट इट.
Yeah, I think we'll have to stop taking questions. Almost 1.5 hours that Adhunika is very patiently answering our questions. So I believe that our questioning and our troubling you is not going to bother you at night or
No,
put
no,
you
no, no.
off to sleep for
I'm at peace
some,
now. I sleep very well.
some hours. So now I request Dr. Sangeeta Jadhav, who is our secretary of our organization, to give vote of thanks. And I personally thank Adhunika for being over here at very one request and take at the shortest possible time to come over here and enlighten us on the dark part for us, but the online part which we are not so much aware. Over to Dr. Sangeeta Jadhav.
Hello and good afternoon, and congratulations, Dr. Adhunika Prakash, for doing such a wonderful work over so many
Dr.
years.
Sangeeta is also from Pune. She's from Fulton. So she very commonly
Yeah,
passes through Pune to go to her mom's house.
yes. Yeah, and very similar story. Even I fed my twins beyond 6, but because of this, I tell people I fed them for 6, but it was beyond 6 actually, near about 7 years. I used to tell till 6 at least, till they got this permanent teeth. So, but you took the very good advantage of this social media to educate the people all across the country and even beyond that. So, and it is as you correctly said, it is the consistency, dedication, and kindness to do something, as you actually told, it is a karma debt you are doing here. And that was really, it is very important because it is our social responsibility to pay back to the society from where we have taken, and you are doing a very good job. And as even our Manisha Gogri, past secretary, said, maybe in future there might be many of our mother support counselors uh, we can do collaborate with each other and do some online work together, and even offline sometimes. But it is very kind of you that you accepted our invitation, and without any कुछ हम बोलते कि छुपा हुआ कुछ नहीं, सब कुछ खुल्लम खुल्ला है. So from every single point you have elaborated, given these answers, and it is honor to be here with you, sharing the online platform with you. Thank you so much. I am also grateful for the all the delegates who are here beyond. It was above 100 participants were there, and they will also think of it, because see what happens now. Our organization, it is more than 25 years now. It is almost 30-year old organization, and still there are so many educated and capable potential people in our organization, and Gangal, Dr. Gangal sir, and we keep doing you utilize this knowledge for the social work and do something. But because it was not the complete clear pattern ki who will take the responsibility, and if you alone start and the people join you, we are actually a group beyond 250 300 people itself. So we can also think of this in future, maybe. So thank you so much, all the participants. Thank you, UNICEF. Thank you, Nutrition Mission. Thank you, all the dignitaries from pediatrics, lactation consultant, gynecological field. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this opportunity and listening to me. And like I told Dr. Prashant Gangal that I want to keep it as funny and light as possible and not very preachy and Gyan Chand types. So thank you so much for listening to me. And if there is anyone, like I said, somewhere in the middle of the session, if you know any social service organization that is working with urban poor or underprivileged areas, we can offer the course for free. The first level is in Hindi, fully translated, and I'll be happy to offer the course for free, and maybe even design a program where we can track how the babies are doing. And that is something that is my real goal actually going forward. So if anyone has any connects, please feel free to write to me at adhunika@bsim.org.in. It's Adhunika, just adhunika@bsim.org.in. So please feel free to write to me if you know anyone who works with underprivileged and urban poor areas. Thank you so
Thank you
Surely,
much.
so much.
thank you with this noble deed that you are planning to do, and I'm sure you're still doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we declare the meeting as over. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.